For Halloween this year, my guy and I dressed up as Dr. Fujita and Mantleray from the Netflix limited series Maniac. We're obsessed with this show and binged it in a couple of days. Gathering the pieces for the costumes were relatively simple, and what I couldn't find I DIY'd. I decided to make my own patches out of felt since the ULP and NPB patches are key pieces to their uniform. Crafting felt and embroidery floss are very cheap, however this method was a bit time consuming. If you're stressed for time, I recommend printing out photos of the patches and taping them on. This will do the trick for a quick costume. To make the patches, first I sketched out the design. I edited a design made on Reddit, link below for what I used for reference. I cut out the headpieces in white and blue. I then traced the head design on tissue paper and carefully taped it to my white felt piece. Using 2 strands of embroidery floss, backstitched the entire design. Once this is finished, use tweezers and scissors to remove all of the tissue paper, leaving only the embroidery. Next, I sewed the white felt head down to the blue and sewed the blue head down to the green and red arch. Using the same tissue paper technique, carefully tape the pattern down and embroider thick lines to create the sunburst design surrounding the head. Next, sew this finished piece onto a larger green felt arch. I cut this about 1.5 inches larger than I needed to, since the thin rainbow arches are delicate and can skew the design a bit. I found trimming away the excess at the end easier than trying to manipulate all of the thin pieces of felt, which I did my first attempt. Next, using tissue paper patterns again, use white thread to embroider the letters. After embroidering and cleaning up all of the letters, create a frame about 1/2 inch thick around the archway with yellow felt. Carefully tack this down and add the rest of the colors, orange, red, violet, and blue. All of the thin rainbow strips were about 1/8 inch thick. Once the rainbow is in place, trim off the strips at the bottom to create a clean edge, and carefully cut away the excess grain arch about 1/8 or so all the way around. Next up, the MPB patches, which were so much easier. Similarly to the ULP patches, I sketched out my design and cut out all of the pattern pieces. I used baby blue, pink, and white for this one. First, I carefully tacked down all of the letters and colored shadowing onto the white piece of felt. Once this was finished, I sewed the white onto the pink and the pink onto the blue. Sew the MPB patch on the top left chest of the lab coat and the ULP patch on the top of the right sleeve. I purchased 2 lab coats from Amazon which had left chest pockets that I tried to sew the patches carefully around. Next up are the badges. I found these on Reddit and printed them out to fit these self-laminating tags I found at Daiso. The only issue with the tags was that they were horizontal instead of vertical, which ended up not being too big of an issue. First, carefully cut out the badges. The self-laminating badge is essentially a sticker, so be careful when placing the photo and pressing the sticker down. Carefully cut away the horizontal seam and trim to clean up any edges. Use an X-Acto knife to cut out the rectangular opening, snap the provided clips through, and you have yourself a laminated vertical badge. I also couldn't resist recreating the A, B, and C pills out of felt as well. This process was done similarly to the patches with tissue paper to transfer the embroidery. Carefully cut out your letters and glue them together. Do this for added thickness and to hide the backside of the stitching. Make sure to trace the inverse of B and C to glue them back to back properly. You can put these in a clear pill bottle for another added prop option. I also rolled up white felt to create a quick cigarette prop. For both of these, you could use paper for a quick costume instead. For Mantleray's look, I found a mock neck turtleneck and clear aviators on Amazon. We finished the look with trousers, a watch, and some nice shoes. For Azumi's style, I thrifted a pair of trousers and a burgundy button-up to layer underneath the lab coat. I threw on my comfy pointed mules from Target to complete the look. In addition to the badge, cigarette, and pills that were made, I found a bob wig with bangs and large rounded clear aviators on Amazon. I feel like some of the makeup was a waste of time since the wig and glasses covered most of my face. Like there was no point in me doing my eyebrows whatsoever. But I went for a simple look with a cat eye, extremely minimal nude eyeshadow, and a reddish brown lip color. Inspired by a jacket I found at a thrift store that looked strikingly similar to Azumi's, I decided to also recreate their looks in the final scene. I borrowed a pair of leather gloves and my friend's white suitcase and ordered a fake bonsai tree from Amazon. I then swapped out my mules for my higher booties. This look is really inconvenient and impractical for parties or pretty much anything because you have to awkwardly hold stuff in both hands, but at least it was fun to recreate. For Mantleray, I swapped the lab coat for a white button-up and simply sewed big black buttons over the clear ones. We threw on some gloves and called it a day. We had so much fun with these costumes. Hopefully this gives you some ideas if you were thinking of doing a Maniac costume as well. Thanks again so much for watching, and I hope you have a happy Halloween.